see. So I can mute this real quick.
Yeah. When the chat starts going, let us know if there's any echo or anything, because I'm not wearing headphones today. So if there's an echo, say something now and I'll put headphones on. Or if you can't hear us at all, let me know.
We're due for some technical difficulties. We've been kind of
had technical difficulties the last 2 weeks, so we're due for something retarded to happen. What's going on, guys?
Yeah. Start out by saying thanks for all the C1 Leaf orders.
All the orders in general.
Yeah. Not expecting that many orders for that particular platform, but here we are. New ones are orders in. I'll be on the site letting everybody know when to expect them. But
all kinds of people in here tonight. What's going on, everybody? I don't have a whole lot on the menu to talk about. I didn't really get to tinker or fart with a whole lot this week because I was busy manufacturing, trying to catch up with orders from Black Friday and all that stuff. So wasn't able to really do a whole lot of tinkering. I did mess with the forward skid version of the Vanquish chassis of ours. I made up some front links and I mocked up a front axle in there. I don't know if it's really going to be super feasible. Moving it. So the issue is that it'll require a bunch of stuff, really. So you would have to buy, basically you'd have to buy a VRD carbon kit. Then you would have to buy the stubby kit for the VRD. Then you would have to buy a link set. Then you would have to buy drive shafts, and you'd have to buy a frame rail set. And you would have to buy a snub nose revolver or a small revolver motor to fit in there. And the amount that I moved the skid forward is as far as I could make it go realistically. But unfortunately, the Vanquish skid has these big ears in front of the link pocket, so you can't get a whole bunch of triangulation. And with short links, the triangulation gets pretty wide when you shorten the links. So you'd have to cut the skid plate. So then it turns into this whole big thing of who's actually going to build that, right? Because it just requires so much stuff.
This is kind of what we're discussing. I would like to see in the comments what people think, but yeah, are you gonna buy that kit, cut, modify existing parts, and buy probably, I don't know, $200 in extra parts just to gain that
20
little bit?
It's 20 millimeters forward is what it is. So
20 millimeters is expensive.
it gets real expensive real fast. Adam, we'll talk about some inventory update stuff here pretty shortly, but that stuff's all coming. C1 Pro Leaf chassis, high-low 6x6s, all that stuff is coming. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So at that point, when you're doing all that work, why not just build a high-low or something like that?
Yeah,
it would save you. It would probably save you about $400.
realistically.
Realistically, it'd save you about $400 not buying a truck to start with and just starting with a set of axles and shocks, because you're going to have to buy everything else anyway.
Yeah, you would need to just build a high-low. You're in a frame set, link set, your choice on F10 axles of whether you want portal, straights, or combo. and then you get a behind the axle servo, and I mean, it's you're saving. You're basically the whole kit minus a few parts. You're probably not going to use. It's just we're going to run into the same problem like what we had with the Traxxas.
Right.
Um, People want to change out their Traxxas, but the kit I was selling, you basically just need the drivetrain. So
Yeah.
I didn't really.
You were using the transmission and the axles, and that was it, and throwing the rest of the truck away. So that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at with this. Is like I could make it. It is feasible, but it's not realistic. So I probably won't spend a whole lot of extra time on it. The thought was great. The prototype, like the profile of the chassis, it all turned out good. Everything bolts right on.
Looks cool.
It looks cool, but the amount of goofing to actually get it built is probably not something that people are really going to do. So
Yeah.
yeah, what do you guys use to bend links? Tom, you can use anything to bend links. I mean, you could literally use two wrenches in your hand. You know, put the link through two wrenches and bend them apart. Stainless these basically 6 millimeter or whatever stainless links, 3/16 stainless links aren't hard to bend. You can use a bench vise. You can use two wrenches. You can use whatever. I personally have a solid rod bender. It's like a round plate with a post in the middle of it, and then like a turn handle that sits down on top of it with another post that sticks down. It's super simple, but it's just a solid rod bender is all it is. And I just have like Sharpie lines drawn on it because I don't any link sets that we offer that are bent. I don't bend those in house. I order that stuff from Hardcore, and he bends everything and ships individual size links directly to me, so I don't have to worry about repeatability on bends or anything like that. So anything that I'm bending for myself, I just make like a Sharpie line on the round disc thing that the table and just bend approximately to the same thing. They don't have to be normal, or they don't have to be the same. So, who bought in the works? That hasn't been publicly announced yet, but
RC car addict.
no, RC Addict did not buy it. I did have a conversation with Brent on the phone the night that he made that Facebook post. I talked to him for probably almost an hour on the phone. What was that? Thursday night, I think. I think it was Thursday night. We had a real long conversation about what he wanted out of the business, what he was selling, essentially. Because there's a lot goes into selling a business like this. Yeah, we have catalogs of files, and we have catalogs of customers, and we have physical inventory, um, and we have the goodwill that our reputation brings, which is also valuable. Even if we didn't produce anything new over the last couple years, um, a good reputation and a good customer service is still valuable, especially when we've been in business since 2014. So we're coming up on 10 years here, where he was like 2018 or 19, I think, is when he started. But yeah, Deluxe sort of dropped a hint too. Like I said, it hasn't been publicly announced. I know who purchased it. I have a general idea what they paid for it, and I have a general idea of what they purchased. Um, but I'm gonna let the people that bought it actually say.
We're
So
not going to be the leakers.
right, right. Uh, but basically what it boiled down to was Brent was too busy being a one man shop, one man band, working out of his garage, trying to build one to ones, trying to build a family. Trying to be a good dad and a good husband. And you get busy and you get burnt out, and then you get behind, and then people start messaging, and then the time it takes to reply to the messages takes away from actually doing the work. And regardless, he was burnt out. He was done. He was over it. So he decided it was time to sell it while it still had some value. And I don't blame him for that either. So um,
Yeah. Um,
hopefully, the company that purchased it, I think the company that purchased it probably will just absorb into their normal business. And I would doubt, personally, I would doubt that In the Works name stays the name. I think they basically bought inventory, customer lists, and a catalog. If I had to,
it'd probably be like maybe like the incision drive shafts of like VP
could be, could be.
product name.
Within, it might still be In the Works links within their website, but I would doubt that they would have an external website still for.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to run two different websites, especially since there is some, or there would be some crossover um, of items. I guess you could say. So, but anyway, last week a couple of people asked if I would show the hardline and flatline laid on top of factory VRD chassis, and I did not have the factory frame rails with me. I do have them with me today. So this would be our flatline chassis laid over top of the factory VRD, and I have it bolted together in two locations so it'll be easier to show. But this is the difference at the front. This is the front of the skid, and this is the back of the skid. So you can see there's a pretty decent height difference at the front of the skid, and at the back of the skid, it's pretty negligible as far as a height difference goes. Basically, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but this back hole, yeah, you can't see anything. This back hole in the skid almost lines up. The flat line is probably 2.5 millimeters higher. So that would equate to the bottom of the skid height also being about 2.5 millimeters higher. So not a whole lot. Same thing here. This is the hard line 6-degree angled skid laid over the Vanquish VRD carbon. So you can see it's about 7.5 millimeters in height difference here and here, which is quite a bit when you're talking about breakover angle.
Yeah, and 10 scale stuff. So whatever, 7.5 millimeters, would that be like 7.5 inches 10 scale? I'm not doing the actual math, but every little bit
Seven,
counts. And
seven
that's
and a
a,
half millimeters. Yeah. So, regardless, that's the difference. And then to see the hard line and the flat line laid over top of each other. That's the difference between the hard line and the flat line laid over each other. Can you see it? Yeah, kind of.
yeah, that works.
You can just see the flat line poking out from behind. Saw my hard line went out over the weekend. So stoked. Yes. Basically, everybody's hard lines and flat lines went out Saturday or today. I was here clearly all day Friday, but I was here all day Saturday and part of Sunday also manufacturing. Fortunately and unfortunately, we had a really good week and a half of sales from Black Friday till now. So Wesley and I were both very busy with that. Again, very good
Yeah.
problem to have, but I was right on the borderline of like, man, I'm getting too far behind. People are gonna start emailing. Like it was, I think my oldest order was like five business days, which is more than I typically. I typically like to be less than 3 business days. But regardless, with all the extra orders from the holidays, got a little bit behind.
Yeah. I think I went to bed last night, maybe 11:30 to 12, about midnight. But all those C1 trails, mullets, and for those of you who didn't peep it, I didn't really post it up, but on the garage sale we have the C1 trails for pretty cheap. There's a few of those left, it looks like, but I got all that stuff out the door today. I stayed up, put in the man hours.
Yeah. Vanquish has so much more material on their chassis. Yeah, the VRD Carbon is a fairly chunky chassis, and if I'm honest, I left quite a bit of extra material on our chassis for that truck too. So um,
I'd mentioned that
let
to
me
you, and
know.
then you
Let me
showed
know
me
if the heater is too much. I'll turn it down. Um, yeah, we talked about it when we were designing it that it got a little chunky and it stayed a little chunky.
it's still thinner than
It is still thinner
yeah.
than the factory chassis, and but it makes it makes it more rigid. So you
Yeah.
know, um, any more ducks on your Jeep? No, my license plate usually takes care of that. I saw the wife looking at my Brazen Scale RC shopping cart this morning. Well, that's a good thing. She didn't click order.
Christmas is right around the corner, man.
She did not click order yet, though, so you're kind of on your own. I don't think so, anyway. Let me look. Pending. Nope, you're on your own. Have both the hardline and flatline in mind. They're both. I'm gonna have to order another kit so I can have both of them built, like I did with the SCX10 Pros. I had the Oracle and Pace Setter both at Axial Fest, and I drove both of those trucks a lot. So I think I'm gonna end up doing the same here. Um, Also, for people that didn't see, we added the linked mullets, linked front, linked rear, in carbon to the site. Uh, Wesley and I both kind of agreed that the leaf spring versions probably are best not in carbon because where the shackle mount, where the fixed side shackle mount is, those slots are fairly close to the edge of the chassis. And I just don't want to have an issue where somebody breaks that part of the chassis out. I don't think it would happen, but it is a possibility, and I'd rather not have to have that
Reimburse.
issue.
Yeah.
But the linked front and rear is available in carbon on the site. Um, is the heater too loud or no? People in the chat.
I think you're all right.
Nobody spoke up real fast and said, "Oh, I can't hear you," so it must be okay.
No, no.
Yeah. I really wish that this wasn't going to be such a complicated build because,
It
like I
looks
said,
pretty cool.
it does. I mean, it looks really cool, but once I got about halfway, can't hear it good. Once I got about halfway through mounting the front axle, I
Yeah.
realized how much of a bind the lower links were in. I'm like,
Yeah. And to be honest, even on like the high-low with the short links, like you're maxing out most Traxxas rod ends on the angle.
yeah. And with the Vanquish skid, you can't max
Yeah. Because
the
it's
because it hits the skid. It hits out here
yeah.
before you get enough triangulation out of it. Can you explain the shackle reversal handling on a leafer? There's
I'll get my four.
um, on the front axle, having the pivoting shackle on the front of the chassis or behind the axle. When you put the pivoting shackle behind the axle in a one-to-one on the street, it does change ride quality characteristics quite a bit because when you hit a bump, it forces the axle rearward and absorbs the bump. But when you put the shackle on the back like that, when you bump into an obstacle, it wants to extend the leaf and push the axle back until you get up on top of an obstacle, and then it wants to pull the axle forward way out of the shackle, which can pull the drive shaft out, it can pull the tire up into the bumper, it stretches the wheelbase up to like half an inch or better. So
I was getting quite a bit more than I.
but having the pivoting shackle on the front of the chassis, when you bump into an obstacle, that shackle is going to want to it's going to want to push straight back, not tumble under. And even if it does tumble under, it stands in front of the truck up like normal. But it's also trying to keep forward pressure, because the spring is trying to counteract that motion, right? Where when that shackle's behind the axle, it allows that axle to go rearward. But it can't go very far rearward when that shackle's in the front. So, my opinion, it keeps better downward forward pressure on the front tire when the shackle is in the front. Now, I might be completely wrong. You guys can all tell me in the comments if I am wrong, but that's the way it works in my brain, and that's the way I've seen it on RC crawlers on the rocks.
I've
Wesley plays more with leaf springs than I do.
So I have quite a long history with this. At first I had the shackle in the rear, fixed front. I'd since then cut off the provisions for the this mount to be in the front. But the problem I was having is you could see my shaft. It's like all the way, like end to end. You can't even see because I was having the front axle the front tire would basically eat into the front bumper. When I climb up something, this axle would yank like so far forward, probably about an inch. And it would pull my front drive shaft out, and the tire would eat into the metal bumper. So I figured it was more beneficial to have the shackle in the rear because it acts like a link at that point. It's pretty fixed. Now this leaf is about to give up the ghost, as you can maybe see, but it still works good. You might lose some of that plantness. If you're really bouncing through stuff, you'll notice like better quality if you had the shackle in the rear. But I think the pros outweigh the cons in that setup because I don't know what the scale horsepower is we're running in these trucks, but
That's a lot.
we're doing like 30 to 40% overdrive pulling all the time, and it's just elongating your wheelbase constantly. And especially if your front tire has traction and the rear doesn't, I was just pulling drive shafts out constantly, and I was tearing up tires all throughout this truck. So this was my main pride, like my main leaf spring development truck.
Yeah, but one of the very first questions or one of the very first comments that was made when the C1 Pro Leafer was announced was, why is the shackle in the front? And in a one-to-one on the street, having that pivoting shackle at the rear does make ride quality better.
Have you driven one like on like highway speed? I haven't driven one single truck with the shackle converted to the rear that didn't want to ram off the road at any point. I don't know.
I haven't had a leaf spring vehicle
In a while.
since
Yeah.
my CJ5 in high school. So
Yeah. I kind of took what I learned at like the Land Cruiser shop too, because we had some rock crawler. These people would buy these rock crawlers because that's a rock crawler thing, and then they're like, "I want to drive this on the road now." That truck at like 40 mile an hour or above, even with good like solid bushings, the steering was terrible. That the axle would move side to side, but yeah, I don't know. I could do like I think I told Carl if he wants something like that, I could for sure design something, but um I'm always trying to put my best interpretation of what I think is best out for the general public, but I can do custom stuff certainly.
Yeah. Um, when are more 6x6 chassis coming? 7 to 10 business days.
Yep, I put in
5 to 7 business days, something like that.
so to explain how jam-packed my Mondays are, I got off work, went for a 10-mile bike ride, and then I got home and put in a order for all new metal stock. So we got over under leaf spring mounts, C1 leafers coming, full party mullets coming, 6x6s, and all the sliders. Those are on their way. The flat plate metal ones. So that's fantastic, but that's also a lot of hand bending I have coming my way. And a lot of those pieces, like for example, I ordered probably about 200 leaf spring mounts, and those all get one single bend. I probably have 80 sliders coming. Those all get two bends per piece. So it'll be a minute, but I'll get it done.
There's some things to do. Um, could you bend the links to have more triangulation so it doesn't hit the skid as much? Yes, and I probably will. I don't think I have a ton of stuff going on tomorrow, so I may fart with this forward skid a little bit more. But like I said, it just the addition of all of the things that are required to do it. It's not really. I feel like I'm putting a lot of R&D into something that's not going to be super popular or sell rapidly. Because
It's
by
just
that point, you should just build something else. Like,
yeah, it's just like the same Traxxas conundrum.
yeah. Yep. Any update on C1 Pro Style 6x6?
That one personally, I don't foresee. Um, I need to hammer out like a good packaging because that one's far too long for our boxes that we stock. And I don't think there's a longer option unless you know of like a Uline part number, Brett.
I
So
but
I
yeah,
could
that
do
chassis got real long real fast
I could do
because
a custom one, but like if you really want one, I could get one cut. But the packaging, it looked haphazard for the one or two people that have one, and it didn't look professional. Which I'm like, me and Brad do spend some money and time into making like our packaging look pretty decent. Um, we're not throwing out Home Depot boxes to anybody else.
not usually.
Not if I can help it.
Yeah, yeah, not usually. I also have the benefit of there being a U-Haul in my building. There's a U-Haul down at the end, and they have boxes. So like, if something is bigger than a box I have here, I just go down there and buy a box. It's not like I really have to travel super far
Yeah.
to find a box. So I really want one in a 10 by 10. You guys and your multi axles and your leaf spring.
um,
The C1 Pro Leafer sold out in like 26 minutes, which was pretty astonishing because for as much as everybody wanted the high low 6x6, It took a while.
I think I was sitting on those for 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah, it
like
took a
my launch.
same size batch.
And I even had, like, I was even throwing in those little 70 mil spacers.
Yeah.
But
Um, does the flat chassis have the stock skid and shift the motor mount a bit higher to compensate for the flat skid? Yes. So the um, basically what I did is I made a file for the factory hole locations, and then I took the um, two skid plate holes and the two forward motor mount holes and rotated them down to 0 degrees, and then moved them up the amount that I made the chassis higher. So if you look at the factory, this is okay. So if you look at the factory chassis, this is the factory chassis on the backside. This hole and this hole here are your motor mount. Those two are your motor mount holes. You can see the motor mount hole peeking out up top here on the flat flat line. So these two holes here on the flat line. So yes, they are up a little higher than factory, but only the same amount that the skid is raised without changing bumper heights. Just take some cardboard, fold it in half, and call it good. You forgot the masking tape. I had to be close to the first 5 orders. I was sitting on go, sitting on G, waiting on O. You, I think, were the first one, Zach.
yeah, first or second for sure. Also, your other order you put in that day, it's all consolidated into one package.
Yep, there were two. There were two orders, Zach's and
There's
Trace,
some
Trace Boatner. They
there
both
was some
they were
smart
both smart.
planning on their behalf.
They ordered their skids and their leaf spring mounts and whatever else on one order, and then when the chassis dropped, that way they could add the chassis to cart and purchase it right now before it got sold out. So then what I do on the backside is anytime there's multiple orders like that and we're combining shipping and shipping them in one package, I always refund the second shipping. So if you guys, anybody, if you place an order and you're like, oh crap, I forgot something, and you go back in and you order something again, you don't need to contact me and ask about the second shipping. I automatically see it and I automatically refund it. It's not a big deal. It's pretty easy to do. What did I miss? Not a whole lot. Just typical Monday shenanigans.
Yeah, just comparing the hard line, flat line, and um, opinions on the leaf spring mounts.
Yep.
Nothing crazy. I
Blame
saw a scorpion in here. There is still a scorpion, yes.
dead scorpion in there.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's in front of the seat.
Yeah.
Yep, he's permanent in there.
Blame Tim from TRD for the want to build the 6x6. Yeah, his looks really good. I like the high-low 6x6, but for what I want to build, the C1 Pro style would be better. I can't say I blame you.
Flatter is better. Some circumstances.
Yeah. I told Trace to go ahead and order everything else needed. Yeah, it worked out for both of you guys.
Y'all were using your brains.
Yeah. Which of your 6x6 chassis would accept AR60s better? Well, we only have the one, the high-low. However, we have designed the ATL Pro in a 6x6. I would say a more centered skid would be better because of how wide the link mounts are on an AR60.
Yeah, you would probably
Because building a Rancho is already reasonably difficult for links. I would say something with a more centered skid. So uh, you'd have to email, and we'll deal with it. We'd have to make something custom though. I missed out on the C1 Leaf Pro as I had to go to work. Bummer. There'll be more.
No. Yeah, more is on the way.
Yeah.
Don't you worry.
Yep.
More than the previous batch.
Yeah.
I
I
I underestimated the popularity of that.
Yeah, I was waiting for JJ to pop in here from Deluxe because I have his high-low 6x6 here in front of me.
Um, don't worry, fellas. That one was like the prototype.
Yeah, I gotta do a little bit of trimming on
Little
it.
mod, little mod.
I thought about just sending it to him like that and making him do it. Now I'll just chuck up my aluminum burr bit in my angle grinder and just it won't take but 5 seconds. No big deal.
This dude needs some glue.
That thing's had a life, man.
Eddie's gonna see this on the thing, and he's gonna start messaging me again. Hey, can I buzz?
No, that if you ever get rid of it, that one's mine. He always wants my blue metal matcher too. Where is it? That's right there.
I think that glue's done for.
I thought you were about to drip it in your eye like a
Oh man, there'd be some screenshots of that.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty terrible.
When we used to race dirt bikes all the time, we were on our way to a race, and this is at a time we raced RC cars and raced dirt bikes, but it was me and two buddies. We were driving in the truck, and our buddy Sean was in the back seat, and he was gluing short course tires, short course truck tires.
I like where
And
this is going.
he like his finger slipped off the tire as he was trying to set it in the bead, and it flipped the super glue into his eye.
Oh, I didn't expect that part.
Thankfully, he wears contacts, and it hit his contact, and he was able to get his contact out of his eye before he did anything.
Before he blinked?
But he didn't have an extra set of contacts with him for the weekend.
Hey, well, count your blessings, I think.
Yeah, I think he had his glasses with him, but trying to race dirt bikes with goggles.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a mud race, so like he was trying to. It was one of those races where you absolutely had to have goggles on. So trying to ride or race with glasses and goggles was interesting for him, but
foggy.
Yeah. He freaked out though, man. I've never seen anybody drop a tire so fast and stick their finger in their eye. Like I can't even imagine what it felt like, but
I feel like I'm dancing with the devil here. We're gonna have another super glue incident.
Yeah.
All right, I'm chalking this up. This trash. Cutting my losses. All right. Next.
I'm new to your company. What would be the difference between a high-low and a C1 Pro 6x6? Basically, if you look at the differences between the high-low and a C1 Pro in general, the high-low is a forward skid. It has a lower belly height. And then the C1 Pro is a centered or a mostly centered skid, and it's parallel flat.
This would be like a quick
visual. That's a 2-axle.
2-axle, yeah.
Yeah, 2-axle configuration on each of them. So that'll show you the belly height difference and the skid placement difference. But as far as the 6x6 part of it, realistically, they're fairly similar, other than like the chassis shape. The rear axle geometry would be very similar as far as like link placements go, but it's basically the center section of the chassis that would be the biggest difference. Um, where I suggested earlier, where like a more center skid would work better with AR60s, is because you'd have a longer front wing set because of how wide the axle is. So you kind of need some more room to get those links out there. But yeah, basically just skid placement and height. They're both, you know, even though the high low still has some arcing to it, it's relatively parallel, relatively flat. So if you were running a flatbed or something, you could still run a flatbed really easy on a high low 6x6.
Yeah.
The C1 Pro, I think, was totally flat back there, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think at least Hibbies, I think I gave them regular rear shock hoops and those tabs. I can't recall, but the tabs would be better for like a bed,
Yes.
which would be like I don't know what you put, what kind of bed, like a tray back style tow truck bed.
Yeah, you could do like a tow truck bed or just a big like service bed, flatbed type thing, or um, like a wood deck bed, or they make that like scale diamond
Sky's the limit.
plastic diamond plate. You could build a like a service bed, welder's bed, or whatever out of it. That's the hardest thing, man. You build these 6x6s, and then like you put a cab only body on it, and then you still got like 13 inches of chassis back here to do something with.
Yeah.
So if you're not, you almost have to build a custom body or a custom bed, or go with the apocalypse theme, I guess, and just not run anything back there. But that one truck you still have, I think that dude spent a lot of time on that body.
Uh, I spent a lot of time on that body.
People spend a lot of time on that body.
Yeah, it took a village on that one. Uh, yeah, this one, yeah, this is pretty cool. I still have it. It's right here.
Yeah. Theron, if you're still in here, notice that Wesley's gotten up twice tonight, and I haven't gotten up at all.
Yeah, I'm the getter upper tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Functional. Functional. Yeah, this thing's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
I'm
That
supposed.
has two
He
steering.
does want it back, but he's out of town a lot. I'm out of town a lot. It's just it's not syncing up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that 6x6 Cherokee body SPG did was pretty cool.
the what?
The 6x6 Cherokee body that SPG had.
Oh yeah, see like my 6x6 like imagination isn't that good. I wouldn't have thought of that in a million years.
No, me either. Me either.
I keep
That
hoping to find like some cool servos or something, and they're like, "Oh, I forgot I stuck that in there."
that truck, my only complaint about it is how big the overhang is on the front of the body, front of the front axle.
Yeah, well, even that, this was supposed to come straight down.
Yeah.
This was actually like the best, like craziest high clearance option. I was actually gonna, because you can see it gets like a little bit of work. I was actually gonna design like because I have like the handbrake now. I was gonna do just a little skid that might come up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It would help lengthen the lifespan of this body. Not that it's been used in a year, I think. It might
Yeah.
be longer.
I don't think it gets used that much.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But this is the coolest thing. This is definitely top coolest thing I've ever made.
Yeah.
That's the third time I'm getting on. I can hear that fan now.
It's cold outside, man. We haven't seen the sun around here in a week. It's been just dreary and cloudy and drizzly and rainy and like lows in the 20s and highs in the like really low 40s and like just miserable gray. Terrible weather.
Got that Oregon stuff going on.
Yeah, basically it's like Washington weather. I freaking hate it.
This is what kills me, and people are like, "I got a forward skid." I'm like, "But do you?
Yeah.
How forward is your forward?"
Yeah, yeah. I am in northern Indiana, and Wesley is in Texas. So that's another thing, guys. If you order multiple pieces, like say you order a C1 Pro Leaf chassis and a Pro skid, Wesley doesn't have any Pro skids on hand, then I'll ship a skid or whatever. So sometimes your order will come in two separate pieces, and it may come at two separate times. So like, you know, if you receive part of your order, give it a day or two, the rest of it'll show up. Like I think there's only been like once or twice where we like actually forgot something.
Yeah. If I remember and I'm not too bogged down trying to rush and fulfill some orders, I'll usually write like one of two on the box.
Yeah, yeah,
That's usually not the case because I'm always like trying to like get orders packaged, and I
yeah. And
don't always keep track.
it does help that now I figured out how to add both tracking numbers to the site.
Oh, nice.
So people are actually getting two tracking numbers now instead of just one.
Um, Frankie asked, "Do you have any 6x6 rails?" We do, but not at the moment. And as far as the links go, this will be your second axle, and this will be the third axle. And these links are about 100 mil, top and bottom. Because what I did, at least for the Air 44, the where the top link and the bottom link holes are, I mirrored that on the frame. So these link lengths can be the same, and they just go straight onto the frame, and your pinning angle is perfect. All throughout the cycle too. A little bit of time put into that, but I wanted to give something with good geometry.
Yeah,
But these links can be purchased at Hardcore. Um, he has all. I gave him all the link links. I think he's got an option or a kit on the site.
yeah,
I know people's ordered from him already.
yeah. Um,
So.
Josh popped in and we weren't talking about leaf springs.
Yeah, yeah. He actually, I'll get the truck. It's right here. Sorry, I went on a pretty strenuous bike ride. I think I have like a cough.
Yeah. I did send him. I sent him that picture I sent you.
Yeah.
I sent it to Josh in his message, and he didn't reply to it. I don't think he found it nearly as humorous as I did.
I thought it was kind of funny.
So Wesley did draw up a hard line with provisions for leaf springs. I haven't cut one yet because I haven't had the extra material to cut one. I wanted to mock it up, so I could just be like, here,
That
but
could have been the thumbnail. Oh,
it could have been maybe next week.
yeah. I didn't want to leak too much.
Yeah.
Now someone's got to watch for 50 minutes just to hear this leak.
Yeah. I don't I don't have a whole lot of extra time towards the end of this week. Actually, I don't have a whole lot of extra time at all right now. I shouldn't even be on this live stream right now. I should be at Sean's house helping him put together the uh, Ultra 4 car, the 4800 car, because PRI show at Indy is this weekend, and his car is in the Mickey Thompson booth. And currently, it's hanging on the lift in the barn with no axles underneath it and no brake lines and no interior panels and one seat, and it's still dirty. And it has to leave Wednesday morning. Like it has
Oh,
to be in Indy before 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. And we found out last night that the rear spool's broke, so he ordered a new spool, which will be
does it
here
have to
tomorrow.
function?
Be here tomorrow morning. Well, it doesn't have to be functional, but so the time frame between having the car at PRI and getting it home and prepping the extra stuff for King of the Hammers and then it hitting the road for King of the Hammers is so small that
Yeah.
like this is one of those things where like we have to have the whole bottom of the car done. We don't want to touch the bottom of the car again. We want to do the interior updates and seatbelt updates and shit like that for Hammers after PRI, but we don't want to have to tear the bottom end back apart.
Yeah.
So right now, he's in the barn right now working on it, and he probably will be in the barn all day tomorrow working on it too. But so this weekend I'll be in India at PRI. If anybody's going to be there, I'll be there on Friday and Saturday. So, yeah.
Josh said his inbox is filtered from that spam.
Yeah. I didn't use the word leaf spring in any text.
In any
It was
keywords.
in the picture, but it wasn't in the text.
It's so sophisticated. His AI blocks out. It calculates leaf spring parts, pictures, and blocks it. Brett's still there. Is that chat still going? Or am I froze?
Hopefully you're there.
Oh, all right, there we go. Are we back? Are we back?
It looks like it is, but I haven't seen it come back on the computer yet. You just had to jinx it. You said we haven't had technical difficulties.
Hey, I just like to keep it fun, man.
Okay, I think it's back. Whatever.
The hamsters out back stopped running on that wheel.
The furnace shut off and then it quit. So
It's radioactive.
yeah, it's back. Okay. Anyway, I messed up and didn't order the Vanquish stance body in time, and they sold out before I was at Hibby's house and we were looking at them, and he was on the website and he ordered one, and I was like, I'll order one when I get home. And like 4 or 5 hours later, I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna order that body, and then I got on there, they were sold out.
Oh, the new body.
Yeah, so
I'm
I
gonna have
have to
to
wait
make
for those to come back in stock now. But I did see that they were shipping everybody's back orders on VRD carbons, so hopefully people start getting those, and then they get some more chassis sales too. Hopefully everybody.
Yeah, get them winter builds flowing, man.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I rebuilt this truck on factory frame rails to see if it was the same way on the factory truck as it is on our truck, and it is not on the factory truck. When on the hard line, when you fully compress the suspension, you can look down the belly of this truck, and it's like perfectly flat from the front axle to the skid plate to the rear axle. It's like perfectly flat. Where the factory is stuck down like 7 millimeters, whatever the difference is. The belly still was the lowest point, but it's like flat. I don't know why that's so like. I don't know why it matters, but like it was one of those things that once I noticed it, I was like, oh, like that pleased a part of my smooth brain that I didn't know. Like, They're back in stock now? Damn it.
Hey, order. Who's good at painting? I don't want to paint one.
That's. I hate painting. I don't have the patience. Don't
I'll
have the
probably
patience.
just do a regular classic 3-stripe pickup, old vintage.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. I keep trying to do elaborate stuff, and I'm like, what am I doing?
Dude, I even tried to make stencils and do multiple colors and then
I thought that was a sticker when I first grabbed it. I'm like, this is the terrible sticker, and I was like, oh wait, no, it's painted in. I'm like,
no, it's even more terrible paint job. I wasn't using like the correct paint masks, and then you spray the first coat of paint and then the paint mask starts to lift a little bit because you weren't using the right
Yeah.
vinyl for the paint mask, and then you spray the next and then the edges get fuzzy, and then you spray the next and it looks terrible. So I need to find somebody that can do this. PayPal. I agree to terms and conditions, even though I don't know what the terms and conditions are.
We're just gonna both be ordering these right now.
Yeah.
I
Ordered.
think this
Okay.
still works. Hey, we're in business. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm back now. I can see the chat again. I wish the stance body was more expensive and came pre-cut. I prefer them not to be pre-cut, if I'm honest.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
But I also paint like a Neanderthal, so
Yeah. Scalar Lab. If your East Coast hobby shops had already pre-ordered or back-ordered them from Vanquish, those back orders just shipped on Friday. I think they showed that they were shipping back orders. So usually Vanquish is 3-ish days to me in Indiana, 3 to 4 days in Indiana. So I would say they will probably have them Thursday, Friday, potentially Monday. That's just a guess from my end, but I know that stuff just started shipping Friday. So you need to get yourself a moose jaw. Yeah, I know. I should have put in my order notes for Josh to drop that body off with moose jaw.
I think he was interested in the C1 Leafer. I should trade him a chassis for paint.
It's worth a shot.
Like, that'd be money well spent, I believe.
Great that it's your connection. Thought my Starlink was causing the freeze. If it was Starlink causing the freeze, I'd be very surprised. I have never. We use Starlink at Ultra 4 in the pits, at King of the Hammers, at Rush Off Road Park in Kentucky. We use it all over the place, and I have never had an issue with Starlink at any of these off road parks. Like Rush Off Road Park in Kentucky, you get about a mile and a half, 2 miles outside the park, and your phone just goes on SOS mode. You turn it off. It's useless till you leave the park. But Starlink works fantastic. So no, it's just my shitty Comcast internet here that made it freeze. I saw my phone flash for a second, and I was like, "Oh, that was weird. What was that?" And then, like a minute later, it popped back up and said couldn't reconnect. I'm just glad the whole stream didn't go down.
I was concerned. I was like, oh man, we're in for it.
Yeah. Yeah, like 45, 50 minutes into a 2-hour stream, it goes down.
Like sick.
Yeah. I like painting hard bodies, but Lexan sucks. Thinking backwards hurts. It does. Like, and then yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about it to know like what colors to back other colors with, and like you have to think about what colors to paint first. Thinking backwards, even just the taping is a pain in the ass, but thinking backwards as far as like color placements also, because if you back a color with the wrong color, it changes the color.
Just slightly. I've
Yeah,
seen some pretty catastrophic, like color backing fails.
yeah,
Um, I can paint like a hard body in a day easy, or probably like a couple hours. But like a
yeah,
like Sam, that might be a Saturday. Go back to it on another Saturday, or mess with it on
yeah. So
Sunday.
like the coyote bodies that West Desert Wheeler and Scale Builders Guild are have on their carbons. The paint jobs are amazing. I would love to have all these multicolor, multi-pattern paint jobs. I Number one, I don't have the skill. But even if I did have the skill, I don't have the patience. I
Yeah.
would much prefer I much prefer the method of things where you mask the windows as okayish as you stick the sticker on it,
Painted
and you
orange,
just hose it down with paint and call it a day.
orange paint.
Yeah, orange paint. I typically go with like metallic black. Like metallic black is my thing. That moose jaw paint job for Vanquish was amazing. I'm trying to remember what that one looked like. They showed it on the live stream. It's more of a dipping method versus a spray. I would tend to go in like a brushing method too. Something super easy.
As a paint roller.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, would you use F10 straight or portal axles on the 6x6 high low? It's whatever you wanted to do. I would say personally, my decision to use portals or straight axles depends on tire height, tire size.
It's where
But
I'm at these days, also.
yeah, Matt's paint job was great too. That's what I'm saying. The one that West Desert Wheeler has and the one that Matt from Scale Builders Guild has, both of those bodies are. I would. I'd probably pay a lot of extra money to have that instead of having to paint one myself. Or even sloshing. Yeah, it's pretty much what I'm saying, dude. Like I can't.
Like painting for gold, but it's paint inside the body.
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't have the patience for it. Even if I had the skill, I don't have the patience. It's no different than the freaking 3D printer. I don't have the patience to wait for
I'm
that
the
freaking.
type. I'm the type to put a coat down and I'm like, it's been 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's exact. I'm like,
Second
it's not
coat.
cold to the touch anymore. It's time for another coat. Like,
My fingerprint didn't show up that bad. I'm just gonna spray it now.
yeah, yeah. It's speaking of 3D printer, it's time for me to fire up the 3D printer again because my son has another like mini market or mini mall thing at his school. And earlier this year, I 3D printed a metric ass load of these little articulated robots. I don't know that I don't have any on the table, so I'm not getting up there. But they were like probably 5-inch tall little robots, and I printed like 35 of these bastards. It took forever. Each one of these things took like 3.5, 4 hours. So like I had that printer running for days, just nonstop. And he wants to do it again, but he wants a different robot. So now I have to find a file and start printing because I have like 16 days.
You like cutting
And
your
if
clothes.
they take 3 or 4 hours a piece, I can only get 3 to 4 done a day, depending on how you time it, right? Because if you start a print before you leave for the night, then you'll get here in the morning and one will be done. So it's like kind of a pain in the ass. You there? Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah,
I thought you froze for a second. Um,
I'm just reading. That's the face I make when I'm reading.
uh, portals are straights for Leafs on 4.19. Comp truck only, not worried about scale realism. I would go portals because I always go portals on 419s. So
Small player. Yeah.
then you have to start wondering leaf over or leaf under.
Leaf under and you're dropping that thing low.
Yeah, but you're on portals, so you can run the whole
Yeah,
card
if
above.
it's portal, I do leaf under.
Yeah,
Seems like a given.
yeah. Send me the file. I can help you make them. Yeah, but then you got to ship them from Hawaii to here. I should just go ahead and order a freaking bamboo printer, even though I don't want to spend that extra money on a printer because I hate printing.
Yeah, I was looking at them and I was like, uh, do I?
But like Josh said, if you hate printing and you hate waiting, then that's the printer to get because it's fast and you don't have to wait as much. Like I haven't heard a whole lot of bad about them, but I also don't have any. I've never had a single issue with my Ender 3. I've only ever had one failed print on my Ender 3, and it was like right at the very beginning of a print. So like I've never come into a mess. I've never I check the bed leveling like every fifth or sixth time that I print something, so I'm really not. I don't know. I just hate printing. Wesley wanted to take my printer with him, but he didn't come back to say bye, so I didn't send it with him.
Well, then now your son would not have little articulating robots.
I'd just pay somebody else to do it, so I don't have to think about it.
I'm gonna,
Um,
I'm gonna send Zach proprietary files to cut in
yeah,
secrecy.
yep, exactly. Are you going to? I guess I don't know. You've changed the DSM file again. Are you going to order?
That's yeah. So I'm messing with this guy, even though it's a blemished one. I didn't want to put on the site. Yeah. So I'm gonna eliminate this little center section. I think it's kind of a waste, and I think the servos now would fitment would benefit. Because I think some of these guys are getting kind of chonky, so I think eliminating that would be for the better, and might make the prints faster. So I might send you that file, and you can print that after you print your articulating robots.
Well, I can print it first because I'm going to be printing robots until Christmas. So
All right, I'll get that in. I put that over in ASAP.
yeah, yeah. Well, now you've jinxed your printer. Probably, probably.
Oh no. Oh no.
There's not a whole lot that can really happen on an Ender 3, if I'm honest, though. You have a small control board,
He's
you have a 12
jinxing
volt
it
power
so
supply, and a couple of
well.
small stepper motors. It's really not. Even if something did happen to it, it's $150 on Amazon. I don't think I'd even bother trying to fix it. I think I would take my magnetic print bed off of it and give it the old office space, smash the shit out of it. Did you strip one of those holes out? Is that why it's a blim?
Yeah. Yeah. So these take a while because my tap starts to get too hot. Just hole, hole. I don't have to tap these center ones anymore because I have that nusser. But that's still 6 holes. Depending on how clogged these holes get, I'll clean these out and run a tap. But generally these will still self tap.
Yeah.
But yeah, after you do like 5 of these, that tap's hot, and then you just kind of start damaging stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a timely thing. I hope everyone appreciates those when they like when I did like 30 of those, that's 30 times 6, 10, 30 times 10 holes that I at least drill first and then tap after. So that's 10 times 30 times 10.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about those numbers.
I have an Ender 3, still have yet to put it together. Dude, I even like, they say that you read on the forums and everybody's like, oh, you really can't print TPU with an Ender 3 because the hot end's wrong or whatever, whatever. Dude, I printed these sliders are TPU and they're like flawless. I mean, other than being a little rashed up from being on the rocks, like it's a, I think that's a pretty respectable uh, 3D print quality for never having used TPU before ever. That was the first TPU print ever, and they came out like that. I've seen people's home 3D printed tire inserts that look like
Look like
grizzled hair, you
it
know?
looked like a wire that you let unspool.
Yeah, yeah. So like, I don't know. Maybe I got a good one, or maybe I'm just stupid enough to click the wrong buttons at the right time and make it actually work.
The
But
guy who enjoyed his job was the one who built yours.
yeah,
Everyone else gets the Friday at 5 o'clock
yeah.
shoulder.
Can you share your TPU settings? Sure. Hang on a second.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Secrets. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care.
Um, the first time I printed TPU, these sliders um, was zero bed temp. Hang on, let me get to where I was. TPU. I had build plate temperature at 0, and I think my temperature. Nozzle temp was 228. Build plate temperature was 0. But then the next thing I printed, I turned the build plate temperature to 50.
Celsius or
Yes. Um, Standard quality, 0.2 millimeters. Um, like whatever infill density you wanted. But I mean, I didn't think I didn't think printing it was difficult. All of my body mounts are PLA plus, and as long as I don't leave them in the car during the summer, they work awesome. I've cracked or broken a few PLA, never PLA plus, but I've cracked a few PLA cross members before, so I don't run that stuff. The aluminum spacers are cheap enough that from Hardcore or TGH or whomever that I just run those with a set screw. I didn't leave my chair.
oh, clever.
I just use these, 67 or 70 millimeter standoffs with a M4 set screw hanging out of them. And then I run these Proline uh, body nuts. They're
Can you
just,
still buy those, or are those proprietary short course truck?
I have no idea. I
No.
got them from Hibby.
Oh,
I haven't
I
lost them
was
yet, so.
yeah, I was trying to work with those and do like a center body mount thing, but those you could only get in like a package for like the short course like slash body post mounts. They're pretty cool.
I need to reprint my bed because the bed in this truck did warp like a bitch at Crawlapalooza, sitting in the sun. It wasn't warm outside. That it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that hot outside,
It
but
is
it
a black trash.
it warped pretty good. So I need to reprint that. Maybe a little thicker.
Just make a mold and do it out of forged carbon.
I've got a roll of carbon like material, just like the carbon
Yeah.
material, and I've got resin. So realistically, I could do it in regular carbon, but
Do it. Do it live so we all can see. Everyone can see the trials and tribulations of working with that. Since Josh and Matt make it look so easy.
yeah. Yeah, Josh makes it look very easy. It's definitely not, because this body, the reason I have that roll of carbon was because this body wasn't thick enough to be class 1 legal for hard body. So I had to layer carbon sheet and resin inside this body to thicken it up. So that's why I have that material to begin with. So I guess I probably could just go ahead and.
What do you guys think? Live stream carbon.
I'm not live streaming it. There's no way in hell.
Come on. The people want to see it. Was that both cheeks?
Nope, just one.
does that,
Make
does
it
that count?
look like it was in a wreck like this one.
Hey, it's almost there. It's a couple hours in the sun away from that.
Yeah. Get the bed corner. Like, I'll put a hurting on this thing at Crawlapalooza. I should be a little nicer to this truck than I am.
Nah.
A little bit of silicone and some 3D printing, and you can forge it in no time. I don't know about that.
Look at his face. That's the face of patience.
I don't know about all that. I almost tore apart my Ford Ice the other day because I needed a set of axles. I wanted a set of axles to mock up under this forward skid.
Yeah.
But then I remembered that it's straight axles, and I wanted portals, so my Ford Ice got spared. And then I was like, well, I've got this other Phoenix RTR over here. I'll just pull the axles out of that. It's brand new in the box. I haven't even cut the seal on it yet. It's a straight axle. Damn it. Then my other Metal Masher body, the other C1 Pro chassis, has F10 straight axles underneath it. Frick! So the only thing that I have that had portals is this guy. And I'm like, nope, I'm not tearing apart my comp truck to pull the axles out just to mock them up under something else. Like, it's not, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I should order another set of F10 portals to have here too, but
Do it.
yeah. Forging is the easy part. It's the sanding and polishing after the sucks. I can 100% agree with that. It's like doing body work.
You know what I hate more than painting? Is sanding and polishing.
Body work.
The prep work before and then the polishing after. Jeez.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. Every second of it.
Yeah, SLZ, I think it sounds, I'm reading between the lines. I think Josh is
I think he's volunteering,
yeah, to do your bed for you. Just give him some money for it sounds like the silicone and
Yeah,
some 3D printing, and then he'll make it happen for you.
yeah. So like I designed this bed so thin, like the wall thickness is so thin that when I glued it in with shoe goo, it like ate into the PLA. Like it warped the PLA. The shoe goo did, which I've never seen shoe goo actually attack anything before.
Like
But
the
it's
adhesive, like action of it
yeah,
created enough heat to slightly warp it.
yeah. I guess I don't know, but it's like it's about as thin as you can make a 3D print and have it
Good thing you
still.
didn't use a epoxy like I did. Jesus, that stuff gets warm.
I need to get some epoxy for my class 2 after that big tumble.
Yeah, I used that Gorilla Glue epoxy. Easy to it's pretty runny, but if you like it, if you need it runny, it's perfect. But I didn't want it to run too much, so I let it sit for like 5 minutes, and then that stuff's pretty solid.
Yeah, I'll probably end up using the same epoxy that Josh and Matt used on their Porsche Class 1 builds
Okay.
because it's carbon to carbon.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mine's it's plastic.
Yeah. So, but it like the tailgate, one side of the tailgate's broke free, and one entire bedside is broke free from the tailgate and the drop bed because they were all separate pieces, and it cracked the epoxy. It just, but it deserved to crack. Like that was a tumble.
Pretty good.
I was surprised that it wasn't in more pieces. I was honestly surprised that the truck still moved, especially with as much water as it landed in with a non-waterproof ESC BR Mini. So like there's not even a case on it to slow down the water getting into it. It's just bare
You mean
bones.
do a splash?
Yeah, yeah. But it's all still working. Actually, it doesn't work anymore because I pulled the electronics out of it for this. But otherwise, it does work. All the electronics still work because they're in this. I need to order a couple of extra motors and a couple extra servos. Probably won't go like super high end comp stuff to have like extras in the boxes, but I do need to replenish some electronics supplies. Gosh dang it! It switched to freaking Top Chat again. How do you stop it from switching?
I just looked. Mine was top chat also. Dang it! Someone switched it to live chat. I want top chat.
We just keep switching it back and forth.
I like top chat.
No, no, no. Anybody have any questions in the chat? I know we kind of breezed through some stuff this morning. Bottom chat, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we were pretty much done with the live stream after 2 minutes.
We breezed through everything pretty quick first thing, but
Express news right away.
yeah, I feel like Josh tricked us 2 weeks ago. Was it last? Maybe it was last week, asking us if we thought there were going to be any more RTRs when he knew that Axial was releasing an RTR. I may have had some knowledge. I don't know. I said I was hoping for at least one more, and that's the one that I was thinking of. But I think Josh was tricking us. I can't remember the question Josh asked last week, but I thought more about it, and now I can't even remember it. But I was gonna bring it up. So I remember that I was gonna bring something up, but now I don't remember what it was. So maybe if it comes to me later, I'll remember.
You've lost me.
Yeah. When was the SCX-24 chassis releasing again? I must have missed it. We don't do SCX-24 stuff around here. I will design a SCX-24 chassis if we can get a Vanquish tire for 24 scales in the red color. A tall tire.
It's 5 inches with a 1 inch
With a
wheel. It's gonna look like a pizza cutter.
no. That's when I will design an SCX-24 chassis. I have an SCX-24 Gladiator on the shelf over there that has like 6 minutes of runtime on it. So it'd be the perfect candidate to tear apart.
I tore apart a Gladiator and a Standard, and I I just thought that the market's been saturated enough to where like there's other people that have more time into it than what I would prefer to put in.
Yeah. And the other thing is trying to manufacture parts for these things is like it doesn't take any less time to design and it doesn't take any less tools to produce, but the prices on them are low relatively unless you build a $700 one. But like I'm not I'm not going to manufacture wheels on my machine in house to sell them for $20 a set. I'm not. I'm not going to spend my time. I'm not going to waste my time. Not going to buy tooling to do that. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
If a majority of the aftermarket is outsourcing, then I'm not really interested.
yeah. That was the question that you had asked. That and I had thought about it more. Josh is between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Do we expect more releases? So we the general answer was like, no, Christmas time, whatever. People have bought their gifts, blah 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 blah. But the thing about it is like we don't buy these things as Christmas gifts, right? Because we're all grown men in this chat. I doubt there's any women in the chat here, but we're all grown men in this chat. We buy these things because we want them. We buy these things any time of the year. It doesn't matter that it's between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It doesn't matter that it's a Black Friday sale. It doesn't matter that people typically this time of year buy Christmas gifts. We're gonna buy them whether they come out the day before Christmas or later. Sure, there'll be some wives that want to buy their husbands something for Christmas, and you'll get some of those Black Friday sales that way too. But I think for the most part, I, to me, if it came out the day before Christmas and I have the extra money, I'm gonna buy it the day before Christmas and get it whenever it ships. So I don't know that between Thanksgiving and Christmas really matters that much. I had said last week that I didn't think there was going to be that many because of that, but after I thought about it more, I'm like, it doesn't matter what the hell time of year it is. They could release the shit on Mother's Day, and I'm going to buy one. You know what I mean? Just I kind of just buy them when I want it, not dependent on the date. I used to think there were some women who watched my stream until they just said they were watching it on their wife's account. Yeah, it's logged in on the TV on my wife's account, so you know. It is silly how cheap they sell those parts. It doesn't make sense for in-house parts. Totally agree. Yeah, I'm not gonna, dude. One drill bit can cost the same as a set of 4 SCX-24 wheels retail. I'm not making a set of wheels. I'm not. Did you
Just to
see?
break even.
Yeah. Did you see? I think CCXRC has it on his website, but somebody posted it in like a mini comp page. Someone had taken like all of the CX-24 tires on the market and like stood them all up and like labeled what each one was, like all the different tread patterns, all the different make and model of tire, whatever. It is astronomical the number of SCX 24 tires there are. Like what? Why? I bet you there's 3 dozen or more different sets of SCX 24 tires. Like why? I can understand having all the licensed, you know, MTRs or Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X's or the Baja Boss MTs or the Nitto Trail Grapplers or whatever Falcon Wild Peaks. I can understand having all those and like a handful of like the Hyrax and Tusk and whatever. I can understand all that stuff, but good grief, there's a mess of SCX 24 tires. Like why though? Molds are dirt cheap.
Josh, you gotta call out
BP
your.
one's done as a joke to make you.
He's
Dude,
gonna call your bluff, man.
hey, you call my bluff. I'll call yours, bud. I pulled the trigger on SCX6 Honcho because the Black Friday discount was too good. Well, so that's
Ooh, how good was that discount?
I think they were like $769 or something like that, $799. It was a couple $100.
Right?
It was a reasonable amount off. Basically, you could buy the truck and
have money
2
for
good batteries and a charger and be under what normal retail was.
Yeah.
So, that was a good deal. I still am happy with my Wrangler. I want a Honcho because the body's cool, but like I've been happy with my stock Wrangler. It's right out of view right there.
You gonna paint that one green? I feel like you should.
I had a green one, but it wasn't the same color green as my Jeep, and I got rid of it before I got my Jeep. So, yeah, $829. I was close, but regardless, they're normally like $1,100 new, so it's still a good deal.
Plus,
Ordered from TGH because of the discount. Okay, so TGH had a 40% off sale.
Ooh.
And I think some stuff was 50% off. And they were giving free rod end tools. So super awesome discount on their website. However, that kind of screws the dealers a little bit because my margin on buying TGH parts as a wholesaler or as a dealer is not 40%.
Yeah.
So I couldn't, if I had those products in stock, I couldn't match his discount on his website because I would be losing money on the parts. So, while it was a super awesome discount on their site, the dealers could not match that stuff. So, and then when you really break down the sales of your discounts and sales, so like people that don't manufacture their own stuff in house or people that retail other people's stuff, your margins are usually like 30-ish%. So let's say you posted that people saved $2,000 using your Black Friday sale. Okay, you were running a 20% off sale. People saved $2,000, so that means you sold $10,000, right? But if your margin is only 30%, you only profited $3,000. But you already told us that you gave away $2,000, so you really only made $1,000 on that $10,000. So that 20% sale cost you 90%. Unless my boy math is wrong. But any discount that you give comes off of your profits, not your gross sales, right? Because you had margins there.
Yeah.
So that 20% cost you 90 real fast.
Yep. And then I always weigh time I have into stuff. Like some of these parts are getting kind of involved with me bending, then tumbling them, finishing them, then cleaning them after. So that extra 10%, Uh, it's kind of
So,
needed.
yeah, sometimes it matters. And like,
Yeah.
I don't discount my labor when somebody wants me to work on something just because it's Black Friday. So discounting my labor to manufacture something to sell retail wise hurts just as bad. You know what I mean? Math is hard. Is my math wrong? Like, tell me if I'm wrong because I very well could be wrong, but um, I, I think that's how that works. If you're having a 20% off sale and people have saved 2 grand, it means you sold 10. Yeah, I mean, again, I could be wrong, but
It just you if you put sales on like that, that means you're shooting for cumulative sales, not
you're
just
shooting for volume and to free up money realistically, then it was a joke. Well, I mean, but my math could be wrong. So also,
Big G Bass if there's any high-low boat side sliders in the works. I have the aluminum ones coming, the flat plate ones, the 0 degree and then the 10 degree that matches the angle of the skid. Those are on order, so if that's what you're after, but those aren't like a boat side, they're just 290 degree angles.
yeah.
I mean, I could potentially do the first bend at a 45, um, and then do another 45. Is I don't know. Then I don't know if my width would be right because that's gonna make it's gonna make it wider. Yeah, that'll make the slider wider.
Which I guess it doesn't. That one of the things about sliders is you never know what body the customer is going to use.
Yeah,
So
I try. Yeah, I try and have the like average with the trail finder bodies, the cliffhangers.
yeah,
Those are like the ones I'll gauge off of.
yeah. China's getting out of hand with their knockoffs. Seen two more things online today. Yeah,
I
and not
seen
only,
a I
not
seen a
only are
C
they,
Speed TG Sherpa collab.
yeah, not are they,
LCG belly dragger or whatever that was called.
yeah, not only are they knocking off the product, but they're also using these
The
companies'
names.
names in the titles of these products. So yeah,
Wow.
it's. But then we got an Instagram DM this morning from a Chinese manufacturer with a picture of our competitor's product. Like we can manufacture these parts for you. No, you can't. Those parts are another vendor's parts. I'm not gonna order those parts. We know the person that designed that part.
Yeah.
Like we know he designed it. Watched him do it. Like so then when we get a random Instagram DM that's like, "Hey, we can manufacture these." Not interested.
Junk.
Yes, straight to the
Junk and block.
F10T axles as well. Wow, interesting.
They're probably gonna have press on ring gears.
Um, so that I had a local guy bought one of those Chinese 2.0 lows, and he brought it in, and he was like, "Dude, check this out. I want to see what it looks like compared to a real one." So I have transmission cases from TGH. So I pulled the cover off of the Chinese one, and I had the case in my hand from the TGH one, and the cutouts inside the transmission, like the clearances for the gears, are close. They're similar, but they're not the same. The overall profile of the trans is exactly the same. The cover is exactly the same. Um, Hole locations are slightly different though, and those cutouts around the gears are close. But the thing about those transmissions is, and it's going to be the same way with the knockoff Creeper T's also, is the gears are pressed onto the shafts and they're not pressed on all that tight. Like I took a socket, like a 17 millimeter socket, and I set the gear down on top of my vise and I tapped it with a 17 millimeter socket because that was the closest thing to a hammer I had next to me. And I knocked the shaft right out of the gear. So, you guys, anybody that's buying these things, if you put any type of power to them for any period of time, they're going to turn into a slipper clutch real fast. And you're not going to get any support from the Chinese manufacturer. You're going to get any support from Amazon or Alibaba or AliExpress or wherever the hell else you bought them. So I'm not going to feel bad for you when you have a slipper clutch instead of a transmission.
You would have had to have bought 2 or 3 as backups, which at that price you should have just bought the original one that's you're not gonna have any problems with. Yeah.
Um, 4S is going to wreck them. Yeah, it's not even going to take 4S. Like I said, I tapped on it with a 17 millimeter socket and knocked the shaft right out of it. The shaft did have some like knurling where it was pressed into the gear to like maybe try to attempt to keep it from slipping, but the
Like it
gear,
was like an afterthought.
yeah, the gear didn't have any matching knurling in it either. So
So knurling would have added to the overall diameter of that. So they probably
the only
put those
press,
2 together and they're like, "Oh crap, this isn't gonna
yeah,
stay." And then they're like, "Knurl these."
yes, the only
It's like
pressing
an
is from
afterthought.
the displacement of the metal when they knurled the shaft. So like, yeah, it's not gonna it's not gonna last very long. I hope
Maybe
to
if
blow
you're
the
running like
price.
a 2S and a 35 turn RC 4-wheel drive motor.
Yeah. Oh, whatever, man. I'm so tired of these Chinese knockoffs coming out, and like I messaged Josh earlier today, and we were chatting back and forth a little bit about it. And I'm like, man, how does a small business recover or survive when their entire catalog has been knocked off? Like the entire catalog, chassis included. What do you do? There's no patents on any of this stuff. You have intellectual property, but China doesn't care about that crap either. So what do you do? Do you throw everything in the scrap bin and start over with new designs and redesign your entire line? Or there's always going to be people like us that buy the original because we know that there's actual quality involved in it. But the unfortunate part is that the people that are comping are the people that are going to buy the higher quality parts. But unfortunately, we are the 5% of the crawler market. So when you have 95% of the crawler market buying knockoff bullshit, and 5% of the market going, why are you guys buying this crap? Because it's cheap.
Didn't we look like
How, how
old
long can
boomer naysayers?
how long can we survive? These carbon frame rails are like $20. Dude, if somebody knocks off one of my chassis and starts selling carbon rails for $20, I'm gonna buy the fucking $20 carbon rails and resell them. Like, I can't make these things for $20. I can't make them for $20. I can't make one rail for $20. And they're selling 2 rails shipped for $23 or something. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how anyone over there is making any money. And not even like, I'm not even talking about like getting rich making money. I'm talking about like
How
being
are
able,
you netting a positive?
yeah, like I'm talking about being able to eat dinner tonight. Like, we've talked about it before. The Creeper T case, for me, if Chris wanted me to manufacture just the case halves, I'm not gonna buy the material, the tooling, the fixturing, programming, and manufacture the transmission case halves for what you can buy the entire Chinese transmission for. Then you got to think about the bearings and the shafts and the gears and the pins and all the other stuff, plus the manual labor to build the thing. There's no way. It's not possible. Is the carbon different? What's the quality of the carbon material? So, I mean, realistically, there are differences in the carbon. You have carbon from China, you have carbon from Japan, you have carbon in the U.S. Like, there is differences in the carbon, and yeah, I'm sure they're using like the cheapest stuff they can get their hands on. But like,
Yeah.
but in order for me to sell a pair of rails at $20, I would have to find material at a quarter the cost that I get it now. And you're talking about buying a sheet of carbon fiber the same price as a cardboard box. Like, realistically, in order for me to manufacture $20 frame rails, I'm basically buying cardboard boxes and machining.
Yeah, Big Jeep's right. You just need children
But I still have to buy tooling, and I still have to buy machines, and I still
and
have to pay
and
the electric
cots.
company, and I still have to pay my shop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if I don't pay myself anything, so like having child labor is going to cost me more. I don't get a paycheck from this. Like, I wish I did, but I don't. So even if I hired my 7-year-old son to come click buttons on my machines, I still got to buy the kid a Happy Meal. It cost me an extra $6. Like, the price of chassis went up.
Someone's gonna get like a Happy Meal toy with their order, and they're gonna be like, "Sorry," or he'll be like, "Hey, that's the one that I took for my kid. It's
Yeah,
not yours."
yeah. My son packaged that order. Sorry. Can you compress the cardboard to be rigid as carbon? I could probably add some resin.
Yeah, then yeah, fill it with resin. That'd be kind of funny.
Just soak it in resin, let it dry, and then machine. I wonder if I could prototype like that. Because even buying a sheet of G10 now, like, it's you can find G10 sheets, so telling prices really isn't that big of a deal. So, like, when we started cutting chassis, a sheet of G10 was like $40, 40 to $42. That same exact sheet of G10 from the same exact supplier now is like $98. So the price has doubled in the last, 9 years. So even prototyping in G10 doesn't, it's not real cheap. What size sheet do you use the most often? Usually 24 by 24 by 1/8 inch. So,
What fits on your bed?
well, that's just what yeah, I can go up to like 32 inches wide, but the way I have fixturing set up and have things set up already, plus like my files, the way I have everything laid out is usually 24 by 24. And I source U.S. made carbon from a U.S. supplier, so my carbon isn't cheap at all. I can order Amazon carbon, and the carbon would be cheaper,
It's just
but
like one of those things like we kind of take a little bit of pride in.
yeah, yeah, and maybe ordering Amazon carbon, maybe nobody would even know, but I have more integrity than that. You know what I mean? Like,
You know,
maybe having a sheet of carbon, Chinese carbon, to prototype in would wouldn't be a bad idea, because I did go through like a sheet and a half prototyping all three of these VRD chassis. So like, cost myself more than a couple $100 in prototyping when I could just dump some resin on cardboard, I guess, and prototype from now on.
Yeah.
Maybe I could look at I could look into some different plastics or whatever, but like that would really only be good for like test fitting, not like test driving. I'm trying to get better about like actually building the truck in CAD instead of just like mocking up the rails and cross members. Trying to get more comfortable with adding the axles and tires and shocks and things like that. I'm trying to get more comfortable with doing that on the computer, but I've never taken any classes on that stuff. So
Yeah, we're both self-taught here.
yeah,
But after almost a decade, like, aren't bad.
yeah,
Definitely good enough to be dangerous.
yeah,
Um, and since we do all of our stuff in house, we can get it out the door faster than I might say anybody else. I don't know. There's a couple of vendors that might be able to push something faster, but because we're a two-man crew, we got two smooth brains equals one.
So we were texting the other day, and you asked me how many chassis we had released this year, and what did we come up with? 9
Nine, yeah. If
in
you
2023, and that doesn't include things like the forward skid
yeah,
or the six by
production
six.
frames.
Yeah, that doesn't include any pro.
Um,
So like, I can't think of any other vendor that released like that much stuff.
yeah. Um, yeah, I think this hobby's always been fun to me, and I don't think been I don't think it's ever been greater as far as like the amount of stuff being released and the community. I think for a minute I kind of got like fed up with the community a little bit, but now the community kind of came back. Everyone helps each other solve problems. But I think the only thing that's tainting the community now is the knockoff stuff. Because with Amazon, you can flag it, but like with the whole like you get a Temu, AliExpress, like all this other stuff, like
Yeah.
you can't like flag that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, completely off topic, but also super fucking annoying. Um, I was on
Birds, am I right? No, I'm
my
just
wife
kidding.
was on TikTok the other night, and she found these like candles that come with a Harry Potter wand, and you like click a button and turn these candles on. So I didn't even look anywhere else, but I ordered this shit on TikTok, which I've never done before. I've never ordered anything on.
Oh gosh.
So anyway, I ordered these fucking candles on TikTok. And I get a shipping notification like 2 days later. Okay, cool. But it's got an Amazon tracking number. Like it starts with TBA. It's the Amazon tracking number. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's being delivered by Amazon. All right, whatever. So Friday night at 9:45 p.m., they attempted delivery to my shop. Because of course I have everything shipped to my shop because that's where I'm at during the day. I don't need packages sitting on my porch at home when I'm at my shop, right? So they attempted delivery at like 9:45 p.m. on Friday night. Of course, business is closed.
You weren't there?
I wasn't here. Imagine that.
What the heck,
Why couldn't
man?
they could have delivered it now, um,
Yeah.
but they didn't. They didn't mark like that it was a business or anything. So then they tried to deliver it on Saturday night at like 8:30 p.m. on a Saturday, and then
Sick.
they tried to deliver it again last night at 9:55 p.m. And now today, the tracking says that there's more information needed, customer not available, whatever, whatever. It's going to get shipped back to the sender. But I can't change the information. It says to contact the sender. So of course I send the sender a email and don't get any response out of any of that. So then I call Amazon, and I spent like an hour and a half on the phone with 4 different Amazon representatives. But because I didn't place the order through my
Through
Amazon
Amazon.
account, they can't find the transaction. Even if I give them a tracking number, they can't find a transaction. So basically, this package is in La La Land because none of the drivers. And I don't know because I've never delivered an Amazon package, but it seems like there should be a way for them to mark this is a business, or like, don't try to deliver the shit at 9:45 p.m. to a business, or better yet, like leave a note on the door that says, call this phone number to update instructions or something. There's there's no way that I can come up with to get this package delivered during normal business hours to a business.
Can you go to the central hub? I've picked up packages at the Amazon
I
warehouse.
there's 4 Amazon warehouses in South Bend, so which one has it? They can't find it in their system. They can't even find the fucking track
Oh,
system.
yeah.
It's like it's a big pain in the ass. So just a heads up for anybody that buys anything on TikTok or Instagram or whatever. Look for it on Amazon, I guess, because that's the only way you can fix any shipping errors.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah, exactly. It's just dumb. Anyway, those Chinese factories make thousands of different products for all kinds of interests, and they do it under the same roof. They don't care about the product or the interest. Used to deal with a Chinese businessman that would make anything you want. Give him a drawing or the actual part to copy. A giant facility with housing and stores for the workers. Workers never had to leave. Yeah, it's pretty freaking wild.
Um,
Pretty wild. I've seen some documentaries and some videos and stuff, and I've seen pictures of their facilities, and I'm just like,
we had someone, was it on our Meta business page, or I had, might have been like a personal DM, but it was this. Oh, it was on a was it the LCG crawler page? The person like promoting their knockoff,
yeah,
but their profile pic was a woman in front of a CNC, and I think they had like Crocs or like flip flops on
yeah,
while working this metal CNC. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
super sick.
Because I zoomed in on the pic and screenshotted it and like posted it in the comments. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like you said though, the knockoffs, the people that support the knockoffs are really
Is that
chatting.
like the battle for the year? I feel like that's the battle this year.
Yeah, really kind of grinding my gears.
Yeah. I'm just, I mean, other than a few like safe people, like most all of our files are just confidential between like you and I. So
Yeah, that is one.
that's why we don't get like leaks. Knock on wood. We're getting hacked tonight for sure.
Yeah, we've never sent files overseas to have stuff manufactured. So, you know, yeah, they can always get a picture online, or they can order a product and copy it or whatever. And like when when people take and like lay a chassis over top of another chassis, like I'm comfortable showing this, holding this up like this, but like you won't really see me hold up like the entire profile of something like dead straight, or take a picture straight down, because it's so easy to auto trace that. Like literally, you you take the picture and you can auto trace it, and it's there. It's not hard to do. So like anytime you see somebody that's like, hey, does somebody have a layover of this versus that? Don't take a picture of the entire thing, like, because it is super easy to copy. But back to what I was saying, we've never sent the files anywhere. So for
But
someone to copy it, they will actually have to copy it.
Steve is right though. He said they don't need files to copy, which they had that Tulo tray, same exact one that I made. It looked to the T. Which is $1 more on Amazon than what we sell it for. Don't buy it. Although I don't have it in stock, sorry. But yeah, they because that was something in the TGH catalog.
Yep.
That a picture is all they needed. They already had the case made, so they just yeah, a picture was enough.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Good.
tricky, man. I mean, we're not like super cautious with our pictures, but like feel like there is some extent to which we try to not totally give away
Yeah. Try to
everything.
take pictures at angles to skew measurements or whatever. It's pretty rare you'll see, a dead straight. I mean,
Um,
I see guys
the
post their like CAD, their like
oh
solid
man,
models,
stop that,
like an
please.
actual screenshot of their solid models. Like, what are you doing?
So fun fact, the only one recently that I've ever took like a side pick of is the first release of the new Hilo. Um, right away there was people were making sliders of it. They were local. I wasn't like it's cool. People were I can get behind local vendors like getting behind a product. That's cool, but yeah, they actually had sliders up before I did because I didn't know people wanted sliders. But yeah, that was a side pick. But that's it's been revised, so hopefully they changed up their files to match. But
Yeah, it'll be fine.
that's their problem with R&D on.
Yep. Well, it's after 10 o'clock. I'm ready to go home. Be back here bright and early again in the morning. Back after it,
Um,
taking orders.
maybe we'll have some mock-up stuff next week on the stream.
Hopefully, hopefully. Going to depend on how much time I have with going to PRI and all that stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna have a busy weekend.
yeah. So, but otherwise,
Cool.
thanks for checking in, everybody. Next Monday should be fine as far as the stream goes. So, um, yeah, check back in with us next week. Night, everybody. And
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. It looks like a solid crew tonight. Pretty steady throughout the stream.
yeah, yeah, super cool. 120.
124 chassis with Leafs. All right, maybe.
Yeah, now it's time to get off of here.
I'll sleep on that one. Oh yeah, we gotta go. There's this
Yeah.
thing I gotta get to.
So,
All right,
guys,
guys.
thanks. Later.
See ya.